Be patient. It's we always want it to be better now, and you're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days, and don't forget the good days because they're what makes it worth living. Reach out. Try not to dwell on things that you can't have. And try to look for things that bring you joy, people that make you smile, pets, gardening. Try not to get drowned by your sorrows. I think it's easy to do when things seem hard, We're in a world where we want things now, and healing of any sorts takes time and takes courage and takes patience. So we're all going through our own battles, right?
Please introduce yourself. Where do you live? And who is your adorable companion?
My name is Joy, and I live in Martinez, have lived in Martinez for about 30 years now, and this little cutie is Chloe Elizabeth, the love of my life. Yeah, you're a good girl, huh?
How did you get your beautiful name, Joy?
Oh, you're so sweet. Actually, my mom always thought that if she had a little girl, I would be named Joy, and so Joy. And my twin brother, who was actually a surprise, came into the world, and she named him Joe, or Joseph. So she has a Joy and a Joe, like a Jack and a Jill.
Did you have a dog or any other animals growing up?
Yeah, we always had a dog, just one usually. The first dog I remember, I think I was like 3 perhaps, named Perry, who was a sheepdog, and he fell off the bed and broke his arm. So the first injury of anything I ever knew about was Perry's broken arm. And then we had another dog named Bingo, of course. We were probably, 5 years old, and that was our favorite song. Bingo was his name-o. And then we had a dog named Missy. And I guess that was probably, and while I was growing up, that was probably the names that we had. My mom had a dog named Murphy, who was crazy, but it wasn't my dog. So, yeah, they're special. I always feel sorry for people that don't have dogs. All gone.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
I have a twin brother, Joe, who I always say is the oldest child because he was born, I'm the oldest child, 6 minutes earlier than him. So I always rub that in. But so that's my only sibling. My mom got both a boy and a girl in her first try, surprisingly enough. And used to always say it's double the trouble but twice as nice. So that was super sweet. Usually we were twice as nice, but there were moments when we were double trouble. So we grew up in Laguna Beach until I was about 10 years old, and at the time it was kind of becoming like a hippie kind of area, and my mom worried that we were going to turn into like surfer kids. And my dad happened to get a job up here with a moving company, and so that's what brought us up north. And we ended up finding a house in Lafayette, and it was a great house, my favorite house we ever lived in. Had a little playhouse out back, like a mother-in-law cottage kind of place, and I had all my babies and my easy bake oven and all of the things a little girl could want. Fruit trees in the back, and then pretty much what I did was ballet, and my brother did sports, just baseball, football, you name it. He was definitely a boy, and I was definitely a girl.
What did your parents do for a living? What influence did that have on your future career ambitions, and why?
So my mom, for most of our life, was a stay-at-home mom. And my dad he was in sales, basically. He did a lot of different jobs, but sales mostly. And when I was dancing and we were growing up, my mom ended up working for housing urban developments for the government, and went into the city on BART and did that commute while we stayed home. And so that was her only job.
We would love to hear some of your dreams, passions, and hobbies. What were yours growing up?
My babies, my little dolls and such, were definitely a passion. I loved make-believe and magical stuff and exploring things, but dance was always a big passion. It was a big passion on my mom's, and my mom was not allowed to dance or become a ballet dancer because of my grandpa just didn't feel like it was really an appropriate thing for a young lady to do at the time. So she forfeited her dream, and it kind of became my dream. And so I started dancing in Walnut Creek once we moved up here to Northern California. I started dancing at Contra Costa Ballet, so I was an original Contra Costa ballet dancer back in the day. And then I had a really good friend who auditioned for a performing arts school and got accepted, and she was a little older than me, and I wanted to be just like her, and her name was Colleen. And so the next year when they came to audition different dancers, I went and auditioned, and my parents let me go just thinking, sure, just let her try. And then I got a full scholarship, and then we had to have the discussion about, did I want to go away to school, or could I go away to school? At the same time, I was commuting to San Francisco Ballet on BART, and it used to be in the avenues. So at 12 and 13, I was taking BART into the city, and then the Gary Street bus out into the avenues to do ballet class. And I was offered there, I think we're boring her. I was offered a full scholarship or a Ford Foundation scholarship there. So at the same time, I had to decide, did I want to go away to school, or did I want to stay at San Francisco Ballet and do the commute kind of things? So I ended up deciding to go away to school, and so I left home at 12 and my mom cried at the airport, and the rest was history.
Who or what was your inspiration in life? Did you have a hero or someone you looked up to?
My hero, or the person that I was most in love with, was probably my grandpa. He was just the most magnificent man. He inspired me, not in my career per se, but just to be a good, caring, honest, hardworking person. And so he really influenced me. I think grandparents are just the best things in the world. I'm so fortunate to have known mine. As a dancer, I aspired to be, of course, the greatest, which at the time was Gelsey Kirkland and Natalia Makarova. And so, very few people really make it to that level. So it was kind of a pipe dream. And I was really lucky to get to watch them when I was in New York, watch them rehearse and actually be in the presence of those amazing, amazing dancers. So I didn't actually achieve that level. Like I said, few people do, but it was a pretty amazing experience.
What high school did you attend and where was it? What was your high school experience like?
So the school I went to no longer exists, but it was a performing arts school called the National Academy of Dance in Champaign-Urbana on the campus of the University of Illinois. And so we had 4 dormitories. The first year I got there, I was one of 5 youngest, so 12 to 13 years old. And we lived on the top floor in a bunk loft that was called the baby loft. My dad named that. And so we had different rules. We had curfew that was earlier, and we had more check-ins from the house mother, and things like that. I spent I spent 3 of my years of high school there in that dorm, in various different floors, and then moved to the second dorm, where we had a lot more privileges. We were older at the time, and we would get pizzas dropped down from after lockout through buckets from the top floor. We'd send down, our money in the bucket, and the pizza would send up through the bucket. We had a later curfew, like I said, and it was. Usually we were in by time. If we weren't, there were strict rules. We actually had one guy get kicked out for using drugs, which was not a big thing at that time. But we did our fair share of frat parties and such that probably had a little more freedom than I would have at home or, but we always took care of each other. There was, always more than 5 of us going out either downtown or to little parties or whatever. So that was pretty much, but most of our time was spent dancing. That was really like on Friday and Saturday nights, It just, it was a little bit of sense of kind of normalcy because we were all competing for the same things. So although we had childhood friends, I still have friends from childhood or from high school. We were all competed over after the same things. So they were your friends to some degree, but on another degree, there was a lot of competitiveness. And yeah, so there was mostly good times. The first year I was at school was super hard. I was super homesick, and I would call home. Payphones at the time. There was, I could call home once a week, and so it was at 12. I was pretty little and naive to be away, but I got over it, and then lived there through high school and graduated at 16, and then went to New York City and danced after that.
Tell us about your experience as a dancer, your training, your daily routine, the competition, and the pressure to be the best.
Wow, that's a loaded question. It definitely shapes you. It makes you get some backbone. It was so when I first lived here at home, when I was between 10 and 12, I would do ballet class after school almost 6 days a week. And my mom would drive me, and we'd change clothes in the car and just get to class and rehearsal, come home, do homework. When I went away to boarding school, it was a little bit different because it was shaped towards performing arts. So our academics were actually condensed. So we didn't have any extracurricular activities. We had all of our academics from 8 to noon, and then we took the bus home to the dorm, had lunch in the cafeteria, went upstairs, changed, and did ballet class, usually 2-hour technique class, and then either a point class or a repertoire class for another hour and a half after that. Went and had dinner, and then usually were in rehearsal for different performances that we were going to do. Usually we had either Nutcracker we were preparing for, or spring performances, or different things that we would do around the community and performing for different organizations and such. And we usually had that till about 8 o'clock at night. Got home or got back to our dorm room, showered, homework, and that was pretty much a day. And it was very competitive. I had really good friends. We were all competing for the same roles or privileges or such. And so I had a few hairy times with friends just threatening to throw me down the stairs, or because I got cast for something that they didn't get cast for. So a little bit of jealousy. I was never, I'm not a competitive person at heart, in terms of if my friends wanted something, I wanted that for them, which didn't really suit the dance world all that well, but it was fun. It was hard, definitely hard, but definitely fun, and I wouldn't change it. There are things I missed out on, certainly. I didn't go to prom, I didn't have high school dances, I didn't have high school boyfriends, so it shaped my life differently than, I often wonder if it would be, how it would have been different. I don't wish it had been different, but I do often wonder how it would have been different. Would I have played soccer? Would I have met my sweetheart in high school? All of those kind of things. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it.
What are some of your favorite memories as a dancer?
There are probably a few. I loved the preparing for performance. I loved rehearsal. Performing, interestingly enough, wasn't my favorite part. Although people always think that you're striving to be on stage. And for some people that's true, but I really loved the process. I loved perfecting different choreography and finding different musicality and different pieces of work. Certainly striving to, improve my technique and artistry as a dancer. So moments, probably doing a ballet called Pas de Dix was really fun for me. Big tutus and royalty and such. I remember a time after I had finished dancing in New York, I was teaching at Contra Costa Ballet and taking a master class with Michael Smuin, and he came up to me and he said, "And who are you?" Which made me turn my head because, of course, it's Michael Smuin and the director of San Francisco Ballet at the time. And so that was kind of fun. He had never seen me before and clearly was struck by something he saw in me, which was kind of a fun memory. Another fun memory that I had was just off random. We were rehearsing for something and turning. I was always a really good turner. And we were doing break, and I had an apple in my hand and put the apple in my mouth and did a pirouette of four turns around. And the joke was that not many people could do a pirouette, 4 pirouettes with an apple in their mouth. So that was kind of fun memory.
Do you have any least favorite memories you'd like to share with us?
When my strap on my costume broke running downstage front center, that was a interesting moment of re-choreography trying to hold my costume up. Another funny one was for some reason, I went out on stage and I had learned 2 variations for this ballet. And for some reason in my head, I had it that I was doing another variation. So the music started and all of a sudden I was like, oh, wrong variation. So I just started making things up and made it all the way through, and the director afterwards says to me, "That was very interesting choreography." But you never stop. Just keep shining and keep moving. Nobody knew except the director. So
how did that period of your life shape you into who you are today?
It made me disciplined. It made me directed. It made me be able to kind of roll with the punches, because nothing in the theater or in the arts is ever, by the book. You always kind of have to be on your toes. And it definitely shaped me later in my life in terms of the course, in terms of going into Pilates and working with dancers and athletes at the Center for Sports Medicine. So it was knowing my body, knowing my physicality, kind of from the inside, really helped me work with patients and athletes in sports medicine, which was my second career. So.
A good segue into the next question. I understand you were a fitness trainer as well as a dancer. What was that like?
Fitness, I guess it's all fitness, right? It's all physicality, I suppose. I really was a Pilates instructor, and it brought me into fitness through the clients or through the patients that I worked with. I was able to know kind of through their injuries what different injuries were like, or why it was important for them to get back into their careers when they were injured, or needed to improve upon something where weakness or immobility were a problem. It really helped me work with those type of clients, and at that level of, competitiveness, you don't want to just stop because of an injury. And Pilates was a really good way for people to keep moving and for people to not have to totally get out of shape while they were rehabbing or trying to, without having to detour their careers. So it was interesting when I first came home from New York. I started teaching choreography to figure skaters here at Sun Valley Mall in Concord, and worked with a precision skating team, worked with just regional skaters as well as different professional skaters. And through skating, I met a lot of people in either ice capades or ice shows that then came back and had injuries, or had a desire to increase flexibility, or work on just refining their skills as an athlete. And they, you work together as a team. I did work, I did have an eye for it, but they also had to have, the capability of taking direction and trusting me, I guess.
Well, one of those people you worked with, I understand, was Kristi Yamaguchi. Tell us about that experience.
So, of course, we all know who Kristi Yamaguchi is, but I first knew of her when I was coaching and doing choreography for figure skaters. We would see her as a little girl at some of these competitions, and she was just this little spitfire. And then she came to me, it must have been for some injury that she had had. I can't remember really exactly what it was. I think it was an ankle of some sort. So she came to me to work on some rehab at Center for Sports Medicine, where I was working at the time. And I created a program for her on some of the apparatus, and she really enjoyed it. It was a really good way to cross-train for her, and a really good way for her to work on her flexibility. Flexibility wasn't always her best thing. And then she went on tour with Ice Capades, I believe it was at the time, or it might have been Skating with the Stars, one of those things, and wanted to get a piece of apparatus that we worked on called the Reformer. She took a portable one of those on the road with her, and so she traveled with her cross-training equipment, which happened to be a Reformer, and then at one point, I think it was like perhaps 2015 or so, I got a call from her at the clinic wanting to, wondering if I could do a shoot with her for Self Magazine on her training that she did, you know, to cross-train during that time. So we did a video and we did an article for Self Magazine using the Pilates based method. And yeah, so as far as I know, she continues to do it today. Since she's had her kids, I haven't really seen her. I went to a barbecue at her house when her youngest was born, but that was pretty much the last time I saw her. So we'll see if our paths cross again, but it was nice that she thought of me.
If you're willing, will you please tell us one of your greatest hardships and how it has changed your life?
There have been a few hardships, of course. It's called life. But when I was 42, I had bilateral hip replacements due to osteoarthritis. I was hypermobile and very flexible, basically just wore out my hips. My mom always worried it was ballet, but it probably was anything I would have done. I would have done it 100%. So got those done, and it turned out that they failed. So having one of those failures turn into a broken pelvis, shattered my pelvis, and that was pretty hard because it totally revamped my life and the way I do my life in terms of, you know, being physically active. I was an athlete, and you know, now pretty much I don't really feel like an athlete. I guess once an athlete, always an athlete, but it's left me unable to walk unassisted and do parts of the things that I've always loved. So I would say that was probably one of the biggest hurdles. And Chloe helped me out with that.
Has your training as a dancer and fitness coach helped prepare you mentally and physically for what you've endured in the recent years?
I don't know that necessarily. I think I'm just pretty much an optimistic person. I could choose to be really depressed and close myself up in my house and, you know, not do anything, but I have a great therapist, which I think everybody needs. And, you know, she always points out it's not that you can't do things, it's that you have to do things differently. So I can either fight that, or I can, you know, try to find different ways to do things and different joys in my life. And so I can't say that ballet necessarily shaped me into having that strength, but yeah, I think it partly is just who I am.
What is your inspiration, hope, and strength in your life?
Well, the thing that gets me out of bed every day is my little dog. And I have great friends. You know, I can call if I'm down, I can call if I'm up, and I'm constantly kind of looking how to be in the community, and we go down to the park to throw the ball for Chloe, and I meet a lot of young children there, which is super fun for me. I love kids. And they love Chloe, and I always joke that they're going to name a bench after us when I die, that this is Chloe and Joy's park. But yeah, so it's fun to to do things like that. Look for different inspirations and things. And
Do you have a favorite poem or saying that gives you inspiration, strength, anything you'd like to share with us?
inspiration. Wish I had thought more about this. There is one saying that from Alice in Wonderland that says, "I wish I could go back to yesterday, but I'm a different person now." So I always think about having, her going through the looking glass a little bit. And although one life is wonderful and magical, that there's other things waiting. You can't go back. You just have to move forward and look for new things to inspire you. Yeah. So.
What do you do in your life that you enjoy now?
Well, I'm gardening a little bit. I try to find little things that I can putter with, so I can go and sit for a while and then stand for a while. So that's kind of fun, watching things grow and not grow. And like I said, I go to the park with her almost every day and meet a lot of really nice people. And the kids are always inspiring to me. They make my day.
What are your favorite things about Chloe? Tell us about your relationship.
Well, I never thought I was going to get a dog. So, because, what if I didn't do it right? What if I couldn't feed her? What if I, all those things that parents say. And she came into my life just really randomly. My friend brought her to work and said, "I think you should take her, and I think you should name her Chloe." So I got her when she was 3 months old, and she weighed 3.5 pounds. And it was actually just before the surgery where my pelvis fractured, and I was in the hospital for 30 days. And when I came home, here she was waiting for me with, so much playfulness and, life. She didn't care if I had one leg or no legs or whatever. But she is super, super friendly. She's very playful, very independent, which I love. And it kind of makes me realize how I perhaps would have raised a child if I had ever had a child. I give her boundaries, but allow her to explore. And she listens some of the time. But yeah, she makes me smile. And I just can't imagine my life without her. I can't imagine my life, people that don't have dogs. What a loss. So she's my joy. And she's 8 now. Well, 7.5. Yeah, since I said big girl now, huh? Yeah.
What advice would you give someone else who's going through a health crisis?
I guess probably be patient. We always want it to be better now. And you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, and don't forget the good days, because they're what makes it worth living. Reach out. Try not to dwell on things that you can't have, and try to look for things that bring you joy, people that make you smile, pets, gardening. So that's, try not to get drowned by your sorrows. I think it's easy to do. when things seem hard, you know. We're in a world where we want things now, and you know, healing of any sorts takes time and takes courage and takes patience. So we're all going through our own battles, right?
I think your name is very fitting for you, Joy.
Oh, thank you. People say that all the time. Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Just that I'm not really that special. I just am a girl doing her thing, and you know, taking in the beauty and noticing the small things. You know, that's the important thing. You know. Yeah, so pretty much that.